Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here quick lesson real quick, just dealing with this here article on RT. But nevertheless, as we see the writing on the wall that this here place is through, man. And we also understand, let me grab this precept real quick. In the book of Amos, this is Amos 3 and 7. Surely Yahweh power will do nothing but revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. Let me go from there to the book of Habakkuk 2 and verse 3. All right. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. All right. Part of that vision is what? The secrets of the Lord, which is what? These prophecies. All right. Revealing what's going to happen before they happen. All right. So it says the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And a lot of people talk and think about, when we prophesy about these things, a lot of people look at us and think that we're crazy and conspiracy theorists, or we're just Debbie Downers and always thinking about the negativity. You know, we're talking about the end of America. America's going to collapse. America's going to be destroyed, so on and so forth. Everything's going to turn to hell out here. You know, people just think, oh, you guys just hate your lives. You hate America. You ain't got no women. You ain't got no jobs. Y'all just some bums, right? But in reality, that's not the case at all. You know, basically everything that they say about us is just the opposite, you know. But nevertheless, you know, for the most part, brothers are doing financially fine in America. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case. The case is we're just speaking the words of the Most High. This was all prophesied. This is how the end of this here society was going to go. As now we can see, the Most High gave us this here wisdom and knowledge. All right. But now you're actually starting to see it play out. All right. So let me read part of this here scripture real quick in the book of Ecclesiastes. All right, it says, Ecclesiastes 12 and 3 says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, the strong men shall bow themselves. All right, so this is going into, you know, like they say, like the head of the household. All right, you know, the head of the household is pretty much the father who's paying the bills and things like that. Well, who's the head of the household here in America? You know, obviously it's these Edomites, but when you go further into that, it's these, you could say the elites of the Edomites, you know, these investors, these bankers, and so on and so forth, you know. So the top of the top here in America, we're not talking about your Joe Blow Edomite that's sitting at the corner store drinking under the tree, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. But even to the Edomites that live in these well-off neighborhoods, they got these pretty good paying jobs that sit here and watch the economy and stuff like that, you know, because this is all focused on them. You know, this is where they have their money into. You know, even some of the quote unquote low level ones are getting the ones with the better jobs and whatever whatnot that's got money in the 401ks and pensions and so on and so forth. They're seeing these things coming to pass as well too, these investors, right? But when you get higher up with these bankers and these higher up the politicians and so on and so forth, they also see these things coming, right? So it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves, right? So this is going into what? An economic woe. I'm going to come back to this, but let me read this here article really fast. In RT. It says banks will fail. Get out of fiat, economist. Get out of fiat. Economist tells RT's Kaiser report. All right, and fiat currency is basically let it be. You know, it's just like you know, all right, you and your boy, right? Your boy say, hey, let me hold $20. I'll pay you back on Wednesday. You be like, all right, here go the $20. That's basically a fiat deal, right? Y'all didn't sign no contracts. There's no, you know, it's not like you went to the bank and you got a loan and you got to sign this here contract saying, hey, if I don't pay this loan back, I got X, Y, and Z to go along with it. You know, it's just basically saying, hey, if you agree and I agree, let's let it be. You know, just let it be. You know, you say you're going to pay me back. All right, you're going to pay me back then. You know, but nevertheless, this is like this here, what this here currency is, you know. What's the difference between a $1 and $100? You know, people will say, oh, one is worth more than the other one. One is $100, the other one is $1. Well, the difference between a $1 bill and a $100 bill is the image that they printed on the bill. You know, it's just paper that they printed different images on the paper. So basically, how can you put a value on to say this paper is worth more than that paper? You know, you just come to an agreement saying, all right, well, if we print more zeros on this paper, you got a $1 bill and a $100 bill. They both got a 1 on there. The more zeros you print onto this paper means it's worth more money, but it's the same it's the same paper, right? But nevertheless, you know, this is fiat currency, right? So it says banks will fail. Get out of fiat. Economist tells RT Kaiser report. The opposite of fiat currency would be the actual real currency of the earth. You know, like when you go back in the scriptures, they talk about, you know, shekels of silver and shekels of gold, you know, gold and silver, because for one, you got to actually go and how do I say, labor to get these materials. Not only that, these materials are very useful in a lot of different things. You know, pretty much all your computers and your cars and everything like that, they all got gold and silver all inside of them, you know, and the wiring and the computer chips and so on and so forth. You know, you can go on YouTube and look up how to remove gold from old computers, you know, out of cars and things. Go to junkyards and get, you know, certain parts, and you can strip the metal, the silver and the gold up out of those things, you know. Also, back in the olden days, the reason we talk about silverware nowadays is because in the olden days, they used to actually eat with real silver and gold ware. You know how they talk about colloidal silver and stuff like that. Well, when you had actual gold and silver vessels, pieces of the gold and silver will come off, you know, and it's, you know, pretty much healthy for your body, you know. But nevertheless, these are your real currencies, you know, cattle, land, animals, things like that, things that you can produce with. You know, you got a chickens lay eggs, you can sell the eggs, you know. Cows give milk, and you can also slaughter the cow and eat the cow. You can sell that for food, you know, but you got to raise it. You got to put in work for this, right? But nevertheless, you know, that's real currency versus this here fiat currency, right? This so-called let it be currency, all right? So it says in the latest episode of the Kaiser Report, the latest episode of Kaiser's Report annual Summer Solution Series, Max and Stacy talked about big moves in gold prices and the signals of the U.S. dollar's days as the world reserve currency may be coming to an end. All right, now this is really twofold, because you have two things that's devaluing this here currency. One is the fact that so-called coronavirus is a cover-up for them basically being bankrupt. Now, America was bankrupt under George W. Bush. You can go on YouTube this day, and you can type in September 10th, 2001, Donald Rumsfeld, right? He wound up telling you that they had, like, what was it, like, I think it was like $10 trillion that went missing or some shit like that, right? And we're not going to get too far in the 9/11 situation, but, you know, in Building 7 is where all the documents and all the paperwork or whatever, whatnot, to say you owed this and you owed that. It's like you took out a big-ass loan, and they got all the filing and paperwork in this building, but then the building and the paperwork got destroyed. They can't really trace you back and say, hey, look, this is a contract you signed for that money that you got, right? So that was the first big robbery. Then again, under George Bush, you know, under the guise of September 11th and the fight on terrorism and so on and so forth, you know, and also the coming economic collapse under him, he tried to slow it down under his presidency. He had too much stuff going on. If you can remember, every taxpayer basically got a check for $700 in the mail, right? Fast forward to Barack Obama's term, all right? You had the 2008 housing market crisis, or the collapse, the recession, all right, in which, you know, he gave a stimulus package as well, too. And what that was basically going to the companies to bail the companies out. All right. But then also under him, they had these things called quantitative easing. All right. So to give you an example of what quantitative easing is like, listen, you got a job, right? You're making some decent money. You apply for some credit cards, right? You max out your credit cards. You're just spending on them. You normally would pay your bills because you got a job. Well, now you done lost your job. You lost your source of income to pay these bills, right? So what do? You max out your credit card. When it's time to pay bills, you apply for another credit card. Right now you have the money on the other credit card to pay off your credit card bills, but now you still, let's say your bills is $100, right? You get another credit card that's worth $150, right? So you got a $50 credit, but you didn't spend, you know, $100 to cover the old charge, and you still don't have the money to cover the whole situation. So you're just going further in the hole. Once that credit card is maxed out, you get another credit card. So all it's doing is easing the time that you would have to make these here payments come back through, because of the fact of what? You getting more and more an extension on your line of credit. All right, or you get an extension on your phone bill, but you still have to pay that bill. So with this quantitative easing, this is what they've been doing. They've been basically slowing the Salakia for the rain. They've been slowing the so-called big comeback, or big bubble burst, basically, the economics, you know. But on the other fold of that is the fact of the matter is, again, with all that going on with the retail apocalypse and everything like that, so on and so forth, they had to try to cover this up. So in the coronavirus and all these shutdowns, they was like, oh, well, we done lost all of our jobs and so on and so forth, you know, further driving this here economic recession, you know. But nevertheless, give me 1 second, Salakia. All right, it says, going back to this here article. All right, so, but going back into that, you had these two different things going on, right? But then you also have another thing that's propping up this American dollar as far as the strength of it, which is the what's called the petrodollar, right? If you ever heard of the petrodollar and want to know what it looked like, go in your wallet and pull out any denomination of a bill. That's the petrodollar. Petrodollar is basically the dollar that you need to have to be able to buy, sell, transport, refine, or do anything with oil. Right? If you want to do anything, make any kind of exchange in oil, you need to be able to do it in American dollars, which help America get super rich. Because let's say Iran want to sell, let's say, Germany some oil, right? Well, and this ain't got nothing to do with America, right? Germany can't purchase that oil unless they have American dollars. So what does America do? Or what does Germany do? Germany will create some kind of product or whatever, whatnot that America needs. You know, America's a consumer nation. They'll create a product. They'll sell it to America. All right. And then in return, they'll get American dollars back. Right. They'll take those American dollars and go buy this Iranian oil. Right. And so this is how this is propping up. This is why they say there's more American dollars outside of the U.S. than there is in America. All right, because all these other nations need these denominations of bills to trade in oil. Right. But now you have the BRICS nations and the Nord Stream 2 project. You know, all these other nations are trying to produce oil for the rest of these people and cut America off from that. You know, from getting that tax for everybody else moving oil. Right. Then also you have, again, the just the regular economics here is collapsing, man. All right. So continuing on, it says they talk to hard money advocate Alizar McLeod, no, I mispronounced that, of goldmoney.com about what's happening in the global economy. There was a day earlier this year when everything changed, and that was March 29th when the U.S. Federal Reserve said we will throw however much money it takes at resolving our economic problems. So to give you the example I gave you earlier about you got to pay your bills. You ain't got your income coming back in no more. So you max out your credit card to pay your bills. So yeah, this month your lights and your rent and all that's paid, but it's paid on the credit card. Well, that credit card bill is another bill that has to be paid. When that bill comes in, you go get another credit card to pay off that bill. You go get another credit card to pay off that bill. You go to get another credit card to pay off that bill. All right. So no matter how many credit cards you get, yeah, you're paying the bills, but eventually you got to pay this one huge credit card bill. You know, you started with $100 bill. You know, your debt was only $100, but you kept getting more and more credit cards to satisfy the last debt. Now you had like $10,000 in the debt, and your first debt started with $100. So there's no way you can get out of this hole now. All right. From that moment, the market switched from being worried about deflation to suddenly thinking the outlook is inflation, says McLeod. According to him, that's when the world changed. What started on March 29th will evolve into a banking crisis, then it will evolve into a currency and market crisis, the economists explain, which we already have that going on now, man, because nobody really trusts this American dollar. The Feds, the U.S. Treasury are basically taking control of the whole banking system, which they already pretty much have a whole control over the whole globe, except for a couple countries. It says, so they will prevail, but in order for that to happen, banks will fail first. All right, this is a design collapse. The nationalization of banks will be happening everywhere. All right. So again, this is what they're trying to do. This is what you see happening with all these companies. You know, they're trying to bail you out with these PPP protection for your payrolls and whatever, whatnot, the farmers and everybody else. They choked you out and starved you to death. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't pay all these things, but then they offered you a loan. Again, going back to this analogy of you got to pay your rent and everything like that, the electric bill. All of a sudden, the electric company then inflated the prices on the shit. So the interest on the goddamn electric bill, your bill's $100, but they didn't inflate it so high that now your light bill is $10,000. And the only thing, and then they offer you a gift that's going to destroy your heart. Like, yeah, we know that this shit's kind of inflated right now. We're going through tough times. We understand what you're going through. So how about this? We'll give you a loan to cover this right now, just so you can satisfy the bill and we can keep the economy going. Well, you in your position, you're going to take the loan. All right, but it's only really hurting you over, you know? At the end all be all, it's like, you know what? You couldn't pay your bills. We gave you this. So now we're in control of your scenario, you know? Just like how they taking out these, with the governmental, if you want a governmental assistance and things like that, they're saying, well, yeah, we can force you to take these vaccines. We can come and take your kids out because we've been supplying you with money anyway, you know? The problem that the Feds has is how to keep financial assets maintained at high levels so that they can finance U.S. Treasury debt. At some stage, that game is going to fail, and when that game fails, then purchasing power of the dollar will go down with it. You really got to get out of that fiat, he suggests, advising to look at Bitcoin, gold, and silver. All right. So let's get back to the scriptures. All right, now we're going to read this Ecclesiastes 12. I'm going to start at verse 1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Going into what? That thief coming in, the Lord coming like a thief in the night, where all these prophecies and everything hitting them unaware. All right, because everybody think everything going to go on forever. You know, you got some of these proud-ass Edomites. Now, I'm going to keep my money in my 401k. It's going to bounce back. Everything going to bounce back. Hell, you got people thinking we're going to still come about this damn lockdown, and this ain't the new normal, where we're going to not be wearing masks and shit like that no more, man. But in reality, this is the end-all, be-all, you know? And then these people are going to keep going on in their pride to the very last minute. Then these are the same people, oh, God, They turn from atheists to believers real quick at the end all be all, because why they get caught off guard? Because why? They've been believing in their own self the whole time, man. So here it says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasures in them. So you want to be thinking about the Lord before all these trials and tribulations come up. You don't want to be trying to think of the Lord in the thicket of it all. All right, it's too late to be thinking about your safety measures and your flotation device when you're in the middle of the ocean already drowning, man. All right, your life jacket at that point. You're supposed to think about your life jacket before you get on your little fishing boat and go out to sea, man. You don't think about that when you're already in the water and you all exhausted, can't swim no more and shit. You know, it's too late at that point. Verse 3, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the window be darkened. And the door shall be shut in the street when the sound of grinding is low. All right, so when you're going into all of this, right, the keepers of the house, these top economists and so on and so forth, they're warning about the end of the American dollar and so on and so forth, the end of this here economic structure, all these things coming to an end. Everybody keep talking about gold and buying silver, gold and hit $2,000 and so on and so forth. You know, so all these things are signs of them panicking. And what are they telling you? The same thing. They basically prophesying the same thing we prophesying, man. People look at us like we crazy, but then if they put so-called top economists or financial advisor in front of their name and put them on TV, people believe them, you know. But nevertheless, the writing is on the wall. It's clear as day. If you know anything about, you know, a little bit of money and finances and things like that, and borrowing and interest, all right. Going back to the middle of verse 3, it says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the window be darkened, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. All right, going into what? These businesses shutting down and everything like that, which is also turning into major failures and hiccups in the supply chains and things that's going on around here. But what is making it easier for, just like the farming situation where they couldn't farm and move their animals around and so on and so forth, they took such tremendous losses and they just had to pull their loss. But then what? That's going to start a so-called breadbasket, people from putting into the breadbasket, right? What does the government do? They go in and buy up and take over your farms and things like that, right? So they're doing this with all these other things as well, too. Financial institutions, the housing market is about to collapse again. What are they going to do? Take over that as well, like they did beforehand, man. All right, consolidating everything, man. All right, getting into this one world order, this new world order, man. It says, and the door shall be shut in the street when the sound of grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right, so going on into that, you know, we also understand how even the entertainment business is suffering. You know, you got these celebrities and stuff doing these versus battles and things like that on one of these little live stream sites. Real quick, this is 2nd Ezra 6 and 22. Well, let me go to the first 20 and then jump to 22. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. All right, we're in those times now, man. You know, because people like to get on the apostles about the 2000 prophecy. But in reality, think about it, man. If you was alive and you could understand what the hell was going on in the world before 2001, right? You knew how life was. You know, I remember how life was before then. You know, you could go outside, ride your bike up and down the block or whatever, whatnot, hang out with the neighborhood kids. Wasn't cameras everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, you could damn near get on airplanes with knives and shit like that, you know, back in those days. But then now there's cameras everywhere. You got, you know, facial recognition. It's just, you know, you walk around with tracking devices. The police are all super ramped up, militarized and everything like that. So your life before 9/11, all right, that life is over with. That world is done. You know, walking around like that, you're not being on edge from scared of the boogeyman, the invisible boogeyman. All that shit is over with. Now you living in a state of terror from that point on all the way up until now. Now you got the pandemic, the virus type boogeyman running around. So now you have these different things going on. But alongside with this, the whole structure of the globe is collapsing. From the mental, you know, people being depressed, the economics, you know, the situation, the controversy of Zion is being raised up into the earth. All these things now are taking precedence in the earth right now. So the whole earth, the regular, everybody eating and drinking and being married and marrying and it's going on and on and on and on, all that's come to an end. All right, it says, when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And that's what you have going on right now. The prophets are now more than ever are pushing these prophecies, but not only that, they're also showing you as they're happening in real time, because everything is actually speaking in real time. All right, like the scripture in Habakkuk we read earlier, it says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right, so it's actually speaking loud and clear right now, as you can see. You know, we telling you like right now, hey man, America's about to have an economic collapse. Well, what's in the news? America's headed for economic collapse, right? Verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouse shall the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. All right, so going into these different situations, these full storehouses, these warehouses, these manufacturing companies, and so on and so forth. They used to be booming and always full rotation, got, a 24-hour shift, constantly have people working. Now they're going down to shortened hours or whatever. Prime example, Walmart. They used to be open 24 hours. Now they close like, I think, 8:30 or 9 o'clock. All right, and things like this, again, a lot of these farms are shutting down because they can't keep up with the finances to keep them afloat and everything like that. So all the things that's driving this economy here is being sucked up out of this place, man. The middle class, who had these middle class jobs and low class jobs, working at the outlet malls, the McDonald's type of shit. Well, the fast food's kind of still stuck around, but these, middle to low class jobs, all those pretty much just got wiped out, because they couldn't afford to keep paying rent while everybody was locked down and they wasn't making no revenue. All right, so all these different things, all these storehouses, all these warehouses, and so on and so forth, these small mom and pop businesses, the middle class, all of them pretty much being wiped out right now as we speak, man. All right, everybody's feeling it. And if you say, oh, no, y'all just conspiracy theorists and whatever, whatnot. All right, well, take the scriptures out of it and the Bible out of it and everything else that we're talking about out of it, and you tell me what's going on in America, Everybody else can see it, but they just don't have no answers to this, We're all looking for the same thing right now. We're all looking for a savior, man. The men of the Lord, the Israelites, I will say, that's in the truth, are looking for, Yahushua to deliver us, whereas, 2/3 is looking for a Democratic presidential candidate to save them. And these Edomites is looking for somebody like Donald Trump to make America great again. All right, because everybody's going through some kind of hell, man. This place is done, man. All right, so everybody's looking for a savior right now, man. But ultimately, this is going to be the end all be all, man. The Lord is actually coming to save us right now. This is why he's destroying the kingdom of our oppressor, man. All right, so let me continue on. We're going to close out with this because this is ultimately where it's all leading to. All right, it's like in that article, it said they want to have basically a monopoly over the world financial system. All right, this is Revelation 13 and verse 16 on down. It says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So going into this here article, or this here script, where it says, cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, and receive a mark in their right hand and their foreheads. All right, you're not going to be able to buy or sell, or i.e., look at, we don't have to break this down no more. It's the RFID chip. All right, whether you want to believe it or not. But as you can see now, you cannot go inside a store or buy and sell without having a mask on, right? Then they try to get rid of your money by saying, oh, you can catch COVID from dollar bills floating around or whatever, whatnot, but that didn't work. Now we got a coin shortage, so we don't want you using money. That ain't really necessarily working. But nevertheless, they're going to come out with a second wave of something else going on and so on and so forth to further cover up that there ain't no more money in this goddamn thing. They can't print enough more money, man. All right, but nevertheless, this is all going to ultimately end up with what? The implementation of the RFID chip. Well, we got to check and track your COVID situation, and the money's all gone. So, we can kill two birds with one stone. Go ahead and get COVID tested. We'll inject some money into your RFID chip if you take this early warning system or whatever, whatnot, causing all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive this hit mark, which is what? Going into the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, But nevertheless, as we see here, this whole place is financially done. Not just this place, the whole globe is financially done, man. All right, and they're going to keep spending till they can't spend no more. And this happens in pretty much every major modern-day civilization where, they get to a certain point to where now all of a sudden it's about spending, mainly military spending. But that nation winds up spending so much money that they can't pay off their debt, and they're forced left to do what? Only go to war, man. It's like you can't pay all your debts back or whatever, whatnot. Most people file for bankruptcy and just say, fuck it all, I'm getting up out of it. But, America's way of doing things is just going to war. When they can't pay their tabs, like, what, fuck y'all, we'll bomb y'all to hell and back, and then y'all ain't going to ask for the money back after that. Y'all be too busy trying to rebuild. All right, but nevertheless, we see Satan's plan, man. We understand this here devil's plan, but nevertheless, Thawadi Habashim Shah for giving us the eyes and the eyesight to be able to see and understand these things, So we could be out here blind just like the rest of these damn heathen out here that's thinking this is going to all bounce back, everything is going to be all good. And they trying to invest into these things, but these are going to be the ones that sore hurt in the end all be all, man. All right, because this here place is going out the window, man, swiftly and speedily, all right? I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I'm going to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that ruled well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push in the truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.